My cousin, 28 female, and I, 27 female, come from a toxic family. So we decided to move in together into my apartment 10 years ago when she turned 18 years old and could apply for a credit card and get a credit score so we could escape our family, and we did it. Well, things turned out for the worse for me when my cousin decided to date a much older man, 48 then and 58 now, and both of them kicked me out by tossing all my stuff out, taking away my keys, and even calling the police on me to escort me out of her property, which he was able to do successfully since the apartment was only under her name at the time. So I, a recently turned 18-year-old, then was left homeless. I ended up spending the next 8 years afterward going between homeless and shelters, living off of government aid, taking out personal loans, which I was finally able to pay off, and working multiple jobs until I was finally able to make enough to afford to get a room of my own. In the meantime, I heard from others that my cousin was mistreated by her now husband, had 2 kids with him, and messed up her credit score so much that she couldn't afford to rent an apartment on her own. This is why a mutual of ours decided to share my number with her, because I'm one of the few people with good enough credit to rent an apartment. She contacted me, asking if I could help co-lease with her so she and her children could escape her husband, and that she was sorry for what she had done in the past, that she was young and stupid, and that she had changed a lot over the years. I told her that while I felt bad for her circumstances, I refused to agree to a co-leasing with her because of what she had done in the past and how it permanently affected the way I see her now. So now I have her friends and family blasting me that I'm an idiot for refusing to help a vulnerable mother of 2, and how I shouldn't hold a 10-year grudge against her when she was a young and impressionable woman back then, and that it was pathetic for me to be acting so childish and not know how to be more empathetic at my age. My friends are telling me that my feelings are valid and that I shouldn't trust her because there's no way to determine if she changed for the better in such a short time. So, am I the idiot? And should I consider talking to her again about whether or not I should lease with her again to help her and her kids? Edit. Her friends don't have a good enough credit score to even co-lease an apartment with her, which is why she turned to me. Honey, she kicked you out and put you through a living nightmare. She did so with no remorse or care for what happened to you in the intervening years. She had no contact with you until it suited her. She's given you no basis by which to trust her. Her so-called friends can put her up if she's a changed person. She has no right to call you family after what she did, and no right to ask anything of you. Co-lease with her. You should block her. You are not the idiot. Yeah, if at any time in the past 10 years, your cousin had reached out to you with an apology and begged you for forgiveness, I would say that yes, you should consider forgiving her. However, given that she's only reaching out now and claiming to be sorry when she's in desperate need of your help, you're wise not to fall for it. Run from her and anyone who is advocating for her. Even if you'd forgive and forget, you don't have to help her. The truth is, you would be in a vulnerable position. She probably can't afford the rent. She has 2 children, so she'll expect your help with them. And if you don't get along, she'll find a way to force you to leave. And whichever friend gave her your contact information is the idiot. This isn't about holding a grudge. It's about protecting yourself. If she needs an out, there are plenty of help organizations that will align a place for her to stay so she can escape. She doesn't need to find a rental to get out. It's a challenging situation for her, but it's not your job to solve the world's problems, and she seems to have brought this on herself. Karma gave her exactly what she deserved. My son is a learner driver and is currently in driving school, and I've been giving him extra driving practice, which is something he wanted. Earlier on, he was sometimes too hesitant and lacked confidence when merging on the freeway and changing lanes, which can be dangerous if you go too slow or check the mirror so much that you stop looking ahead. I pointed this out, and he is getting better at it. However, at times he still hesitates, and when he does, I would tell him that he's driving like a woman. He had no issue with this and would correct himself when I said that. I didn't mean it in a bad way. My daughter is a great driver, picked up driving naturally, and passed her test the first time. He got upset at me all of a sudden and asked me to stop saying that. Again, I have no issue eliminating the remark and replacing it with something else, but I don't appreciate being lectured as if I'm a misogynist when I was just trying to help him and use the phrase more like an idiom. My wife agrees with me and thinks he's being petty, but my daughter agrees with my son. My son and I used to talk like this all the time when he was younger, but lately, he and my daughter have become closer, and she's influencing his views. I think maybe it was wrong to say that, but not idiot level, since I didn't mean it literally. And I'm more bothered about how he lectured me and treated me as if I'm this massive misogynist than if he had just asked me to stop. I've been happily married for many years, and I'm no misogynist. I considered stopping the extra practice drives and letting him use his paid instructor. I used to bash women with my son all the time, but now he and his sister are close, and he's starting to respect women. Oh God, you are the idiot. Yeah, I'm married. I can't be a misogynist. Bruh, like you think the patriarchy was built on gay marriage or something? The absolute delusion. How often can you say, I'm no misogynist, till it starts sounding believable? Come on, I bet the OP has female friends. He can't be a misogynist, right? OP, you deserve to be treated like a misogynist because you are one. Holy crap, how can women drivers be bad while you simultaneously say your daughter's a good driver? That is not a saying or an idiom. It's a misogynistic POV that holds no water. Women statistically get into fewer accidents than men and pay lower rates for insurance. Your son doesn't want you to say that because he knows, in his core, it's ugly and bigoted. Maybe your daughter should finish teaching him how to drive. It seems as though she's adept in her skill and moral compass. Words matter, and kids don't forget what their parents say. Shape up, my dude. Update. Okay, I get it. I will stop using the term. That was not the issue anyway, and I would have had no problem with doing that if he had just asked me to do so without accusing me. I was using it more like a quick idiom so he could realize for himself and correct himself without me telling him what to do. But I get how it can be considered insensitive. I, however, definitely do not believe women are bad drivers or anything like that. I'm 24 male, getting married in June, and my dad was supposed to give a speech or a toast at the reception, something he asked me to do. I said sure. I figured if he wanted to do one, then why not? We weren't really planning any. Then my aunt sent me the speech he had prepared, and it bothered me. He referred to his wife as my mom. She's been my stepmother since I was 8 years old, but I've never called her mom, and that's been a very sore subject between us all because I never gave her a mom place in my heart. Of course, I respect and care for her as my dad's wife and as a nice person, but they always hoped I would see her close to a mom, if not as my second mom, since mine died a year before she entered my life. The whole speech was about him and my mom, aka his wife, and how they felt and dreamed about me getting married. The speech touches on how they were lucky to be my parents, and how I was lucky to have a mom like her because she's been so amazing. It felt like a dig at me for not showing her that love and appreciation, the mom stuff, and for choosing to do a special dance with my maternal grandma at my wedding instead of my stepmother. Dad found out my aunt had sent it to me, and he told me that he needed me to understand why he needed to shine a spotlight on her, because she deserved to be honored as a parent of the groom on the wedding day, and I wasn't giving her that recognition. I told him she was not my mom, and the fact that he claimed her as my mom 21 times throughout this speech was a problem. He told me she's my mom in everything but blood. No, she never adopted me, but they don't consider that to matter. And she should get to be called mom at least once when our relationship is discussed. I told him I didn't want that speech read at my wedding. He told me it wasn't my decision. I told him he could no longer make the speech/toast since he would only read that. He's angry and saying I'm being controlled and behaving like a child. He said she deserves better, and he should be able to praise his wife and acknowledge how our family actually is, instead of living in the past and what it used to be. Am I the idiot? Mentioning her 21 times? I didn't even mention my bride half that number of times during my groom speech, and still I thought I'd overdone it. Not the idiot. First, it's your wedding. That day is about you, not them. Secondly, as a step-parent, a step should never take the place of a parent unless the relationship builds that way naturally and both agree. When it's clearly being imposed on one of the parties, that's never going to work. I never understand these people that try to thrust the step-parent or SO as mom or dad parental relationship on their kids. They always seem to be so shocked when a good portion of time it doesn't work and also possibly backfires. Learn to read the room, people, for darn sake. OP, have a trusted friend prepare to cut the mic if he gets anywhere near it. Make sure you have a photo of your birth mom on a memorial table. Please allow your aunt to make a speech if you want. You realize the speech is about his wife, not you. He's selfish and insensitive to what the day is about. Think about how you want the relationship with them to happen going forward. My wife, 32, and I, 37 male, are friends with another couple that is much younger than us, 10 to 15 years. I'm not a fan of either of them, but we both have young children, and my wife has become close with the other wife. The husband is on his phone 24/7, and we don't have much in common, but I do my best to put on a friendly face because it's important for my young child to have time around other toddlers. Every time they come to our house, it turns into an all-day visit. I'm talking 6 to 8 hours. I eventually get worn down by the other wife. She annoys me. She never stops talking. She's completely anti-vax for her child and constantly says just incredibly stupid things, such as yesterday when she went on for 5 minutes about how Michelle Obama might actually be a man. So I stay out of most of the conversation because I'm afraid that if I do join in, I won't be able to refrain from being very blunt. Yesterday, as we were watching the kids play in a little inflatable pool on the front lawn, I wasn't really listening to the conversation, but my wife tapped me and asked, "What do you think about having them stay over some night in the future?" I said, "Sure," but made a mental note to talk to my wife later. These people have their own homes. Why would they sleep at mine unless they had too much to drink? We were not drinking. Around an hour later, I realized through their conversation that a decision has been made for them to stay over tonight. It immediately made my blood boil that my wife made this decision, knowing that I don't like this couple. It's been discussed, without asking me about it. She just asked me about a future slumber party. For the next 3 to 4 hours, I was near everyone, but was not really a part of any conversation. I was angry. Finally, I took my baby upstairs around 7:30 p.m. to try and get her to sleep because it was too loud downstairs. My wife came up, and I immediately fired off on her and told her she was an idiot for inviting 2 adults I couldn't stand to sleep over at my house, and without discussing it with me first. We argued a little, and she went back downstairs. After getting the baby to sleep, I walked downstairs and noticed that they were packing up their stuff. No one said a word to me, and it was maybe the most awkward 30 seconds of my life. There was tension in the room, and after they left, my wife told me that she had come downstairs and told them that I didn't want them to stay the night. My wife and I argued after they left. She thinks she did nothing wrong, and I can't believe she made me look like such an idiot, and how awkward it'll be to see these people again. Am I the idiot? Oh no, the idiots had their feelings hurt. Stop inviting them over. Stop hanging out with them before her kid gives your kid something that requires extensive medical treatment. Your kid can go to daycare or aftercare or preschool, and honestly, I'd be out of there. Your wife has vile taste in associates. I wouldn't want my cats around someone like that, let alone a kid. OP, you're not the idiot. You didn't tell her to evict them, right? You were just relaying that in the future, you should be consulted, which was 100% a reasonable request. Seems like your wife wanted to embarrass you and succeeded, but she created the awkward situation entirely on her own. Not for nothing, but I too could only tolerate these people in small doses. I don't think I could tolerate these people in homeopathic doses. OP, what adults have sleepovers? Weird as heck. Are you sure your wife isn't trying to get a swinging situation going? Maybe your wife is really frustrated that you didn't get the hint. Oh boy, not just STIs, but maybe even measles, mumps, and rubella can join that party. She's a significant idiot for one, asking in front of them about potential future sleepovers, and then unilaterally deciding it would in fact be tonight, and number two, telling them that you don't want them there. Although it kinda solves your problems, because now they won't come over again, since you just torpedoed the relationship. Is she usually this dense? Next time she presents you with a nutty idea, ask more questions. We have dinner with my husband's family at least twice a month, and it's always a very casual affair. However, my brother-in-law is planning to propose to his girlfriend, so his parents said it was okay for him to start bringing her to them. She was nervous about her first family dinner, so they came to our house first, and we could go together to make it easier on her. You could tell she had put a lot of effort into her outfit, but she was definitely overdressed. I wasn't going to say anything, but she asked me if I wasn't going to change, and I told her nobody ever dressed up for these dinners, and she was a little overdressed. I did make it a point to tell her she looked lovely, but she went into panic mode after I told her she was overdressed, as she thought my in-laws were the type of family to dress nicely, even at home, based on how they dress in public, and my mother-in-law's personality. I told her it wasn't a big deal, but she wouldn't calm down, and she ended up fighting with my brother-in-law as he hadn't warned her and refusing to go to the dinner. He blamed me because he thought I made her feel unwelcome with my unnecessary comment when I knew how nervous she was. I told him he could have just taken her home to change quickly instead of arguing with her, which has only made him more upset with me. His parents are also unhappy that they never attended dinner, and my brother-in-law keeps trying to get them to blame me for it. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Also, why is she only getting invited to these dinners now? If I were her, I'd feel left out, and I'd feel like I have to impress. And who cares if she overdressed? She wanted to give a good impression and put effort into it. Who cares? A family is so formal that the only engagement level partners are welcome to these elite gatherings, but so informal that they dress casually for these elite gatherings, but so formal that the casual dress code must be enforced. You are the idiot, OP, and so is your toxic family. You told her this right before she was expected at the dinner? That wasn't helpful at all. It would help if you said you looked fine and left it at that. Shouldn't this be everyone's the idiot here? After being told she was overdressed, she flipped out instead of realizing that being overdressed wasn't going to be a problem like being underdressed would be. She was probably fine unless she was so overdressed she could appear on a red carpet. Sister-in-law seemed primed for a freakout, so I think any response aside from, "Yep, I'm going to change now," in a few, would cause an issue. She was anxious, and anything that left her standing out was not good, which is really more of sister-in-law's problem. Not the idiot. She was overdressed trying to make a good first impression and overreacted due to nerves. I wonder why everyone is attacking you. She asked you a direct question, you gave honest feedback, and she reacted. That's all that happened here. Being overdressed for dinner is no big deal, and you didn't say it was. That she launched after receiving this minor tip is not your fault. You even told her she looked great.